Shouldn't be surprised, shouldn't be shocked. It's happening. He said it was going to happen. It's happening. Vladimir Putin is a tyrant with ambitions for domination around his country and maybe more. It wouldn't be happening if President Trump were in office. That is clear. But now that it is happening with Biden in D.C. and Vladimir in Moscow, it's ugly. Looks a little bit like shock and awe. Remember that? And take a look at this. You'll see a jet fly at about 25 feet. War is hell, and it's to be avoided unless it's absolutely necessary. Troops on the ground. Take a look at this. They're coming in from all sides. This is a very complex operation, and they're coming in from the east, from the west, from the north, all over the place, taking over Ukraine. I'm not surprised. I'm also, I don't know. I mean, I expected this. But you'll see Ambassador, this is former Ambassador McFaul under Obama. He was the ambassador to Russia. He's about to lose his mind.
It's tragic. It's irrational. It's also evil. Let's just call it for that. There is good and evil in the world, and this is an evil act. Putin does not think like we do. We keep thinking he's going to do some cost-benefit analysis, think about how sanctions might affect, the prices of Bearbank and the stock market next week. That's not who Vladimir Putin is. There is no rationality here. He is motivated by some crazy ideas. I want to really emphasize that. I listened to his speech on Monday. I listened to his speech last night. He's talking about denazification. There are no Nazis in Ukraine. I'm sorry I'm so emotional, but we've got to get over the fact that we're going to deal with this guy in some realpolitik cost-benefit analysis. We've got to treat him as an irrational, evil leader.
Well, swamp Democrats and Republicans had 20 years to figure this guy out, and they couldn't. And they gave the store away time after time. I can figure it out. I don't like it, but I can figure it out. Ukraine used to be part of Russia, all right? He doesn't like that it's no longer part of Russia, and he wants it back, all right? This is like the oldest motivation in the book for invading a country right next door. By the way, every country in the world has a military, some big, some small. And this is not the first time a country invaded a smaller neighbor. You can look it up. It's been happening for a very long time. There are battles and wars in the Bible. There are battles and wars in medieval times. Putin is doing what Putin's going to do, and it's too bad that we did not have a tough president and a consistent policy to stop him. And we're no babies, by the way. America, we're no angels. You know, all day long I'm hearing, Russia invaded a sovereign country, Well, America did the same thing. We invaded Iraq, all right? And it wasn't right next door. It was, 7,000 miles away. And that we could have avoided. But no, W wanted to prove something. Remember this?
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war.
All right, and then what came next? Shock and awe. It actually, again, reminded me of some of the scenes we've seen from Ukraine. And we blew up the country, and we kind of wrecked it. And then George W. Bush claimed victory. Remember that ridiculous stunt on the aircraft carrier? And just a few weeks after the war started, he said it was over.
Major combat operations in Iraq have ended. In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
No, we didn't prevail. And what happened after that? We were just beginning. The occupation, our troops hit by IEDs every single day, no weapons of mass destruction, and somehow, amid this catastrophe, this country re-elects George W. Bush. Now, I certainly didn't and wouldn't vote for a guy like John Kerry, but I would have taken anybody over this guy. Crazy. Somehow he won. All right, so that brings us back to today. Ukraine invaded by Russia right next door. This is a long time coming. And one of the reasons why we're here is because we go through presidents pretty quickly. Compared to the rest of the world, compared to Russia, certainly, Putin got there in the late 1990s. All these presidents have come and gone. And when it comes to foreign ministers and our Secretary of State, take a look. Lavrov has been there since 2004. 7 secretaries of state have come and gone. Well, except for the last one. Look, I know it's the Constitution here, by the way. 2 terms per president. We only came up with that fairly recently, right after FDR. George Washington set the precedent, 2 terms in office, but I think it's time that gets revisited. What do you think? Let me know. Take a look at this.
The Taliban is not the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of a embassy of the United States from Afghanistan. It is not at all comparable.
Remember this horrible mistake? It's one of the reasons where we are now. Because he was so wrong. So wrong. It was just like Vietnam. Take a look. It's like mirror images. Mirror images. He was talking about getting out of Afghanistan, and look at what happened. Well, he spoke so clearly, so precisely. He doesn't want to do that anymore. It was unique for Joe, speaking clearly and precisely. Now he wants to allow all kinds of wiggle room, all right? And he did that for Putin, and now we're living with the results.
I'm not so sure he is certain what he's going to do. My guess is he will move in. He has to do something. Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, etc.
Well, you guessed right, Joe. He certainly did something. He certainly did. All right, from all over the place coming into that country, and this is definitely more than incursion. So, what are we going to do?